Hello, my name is Aiden Desai, and today we are going to be talking about Unit 1 of Microeconomics. The first thing we are going to talk about is scarcity. Scarcity, by economic definition, is that there are not enough resources to fulfill all desired uses. An example of this, for example, is wood. We can either choose to make a desk or we can choose to make a house. However, we can't make both given our resources as we do not simply have enough wood. So why is this important? Well, this simply just means that economies must make choices. Next thing is factors of production. So factors of production are inputs that are needed to produce goods and services. When I say inputs, I mean that these are required in order to actually manufacture goods and services. So the four factors of production are land, labor, capital, and entrepreneurship. In order to have these factors of production, we must pay for them. So this is in the form of rent, wages, interest, and profit. So rent corresponds to the payment of land. We use wages to pay for labor, interest to pay for capital, and profit to pay for entrepreneurship. One thing to note is that money is not a factor of production. Money is not directly involved in production, and as a result, despite popular belief, is not actually a factor of production. So the next thing we're going to talk about is opportunity cost. And this is the best alternative use of our resources, or what we are giving up by choosing one thing over the other. So for example, what is our opportunity cost of spending $15 to watch a 2-hour movie instead of studying for our microeconomics exam? Think about this for our next 10 seconds. All right, so economic cost equals the opportunity cost. So this means that explicit costs plus implicit costs make up economic or opportunity costs. Explicit costs are represented by dollars or dollar outlays, and implicit costs are the next best use of our resources. So going back to our previous example, what is our opportunity cost of spending $15 to watch a 2-hour movie instead of studying? Well, the explicit cost or dollar outlays is $15, while the implicit cost or the next best use of our resources is the 2 hours that we could have spent studying, but instead we spend watching a movie. As a result, our opportunity cost is the $15 plus 2 hours spent studying. Next, we're going to talk about the PPC, or the production possibilities curve. This represents scarcity and opportunity cost in a graphical format, and this is a combination of goods or services that can be produced given a time period and available resources. So one important thing to cover is increasing opportunity cost. So this is a law in economic law, and as one good is given up to make another, the opportunity cost rises. So first, talking about the PPC, as you can see, we can either choose to produce at point A 10 units of housing or 0 units of food. At point C, we can have 7 units of housing or 20 units of food. And at point E, we can have 0 units of housing and 40 units of food. So points A, B, C, D, and E all lie on the production possibilities curve. This is possibilities of where we can actually produce. Point N is impossible, as we do not have enough factors of production or resources to produce there. In order to produce there, we will need a shift in the PPC or more factors of production or technology, which we'll talk about in a future episode. However, point I is possible as it lies within our PPC. However, it represents economic inefficiency, which we'll later talk about. So as you can see, the increasing opportunity cost is represented by the bowed out format of the PPC curve. So in order to produce point B, we need to give up 1 unit of housing in order to make 10 units of food. However, in order to produce point C, we need to give up 2 units of housing to produce 10 units of food. So in order to produce 10 units of food, we have to give up 1 unit of housing. In order to produce another 10 units of food, we have to give up 2 units of housing. Well, why is that? Well, once again, that is increasing opportunity cost. Or, as in order to make another good, the opportunity cost for the other good rises. So now we're going to talk about economic inefficiency and economic efficiency. So economic efficiency is represented by the PPC. So when resources are used in their most productive way, or the maximum possible output. And this is represented by the PPC, as we can see as point A, B, C, D, and E lie on the PPC, point I lies within the PPC, and point N lies outside of the PPC. The PPC is, as you can see, represented by the green line. So as point N lies outside the PPC, it is impossible because it is outside our possibilities curve. Point I represents economic inefficiency, as I mentioned earlier. And this is when resources are not used to their fullest potential. And as we can see, is represented by a point inside of the PPC curve. So going back to this image, I is inside of a PPC, which means that our resources are lying idle and that we are not using them as well as we should. So as we can see, we can either choose to produce at point I and make 20 units of food and 4 units of housing, or we can make 20 units of food and 7 units of housing. So basically, given the same production of food, at point C, we are making more houses than at point I. Likewise, at point D, we have 30 units of food and 4 units of housing, which is the same amount of housing that we have at point I. However, we are making 10 more units of food. So as you can see, this is economic inefficiency because we could be producing on a PPC, but inside we are producing inside as we are not using our resources to their fullest potential. So thank you, and if you found this video helpful, please consider liking and subscribing to this channel. Thank you, and have a great day.